Honestly, I could sit here and go on and on for hours about the painters that I like. Hi, welcome to Paint Talk, the weekly show where I answer your questions on oil painting. So if you got a question, leave it in the comment section of this video and I just might answer it on next week's Paint Talk. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Chris Fornatero and I'm here to help simplify oil painting so that you can get better faster. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, really helps the channel grow. All right, let's get into your questions. Question number one comes from Alex Taylor. All right, a name I can pronounce. Great tips, definitely helpful. Each video I learned something new. Who are some of your painting heroes? I'd love to hear you talk about old masters who you may look up to or current artists who you follow day to day. Love the videos. So one of my favorite painters is Brian Mark Taylor. He's a landscape painter. He does some great landscapes. He has a lot of content out there in terms of online tutorials. If you want to find those, he has a easel company with Strata Easels. I actually just bought one of his plein air painting easels and I will hopefully get that tomorrow and hopefully I'll make a video with that. But he's great. He puts a lot of effort into putting his work online and educating online, which is great because a lot of painters don't do that as much and I kind of wish they did. But he's really, like, he has a lot of information out there. He's absolutely incredible. I've been watching his stuff for a very long time. If you don't follow him on Instagram, I highly suggest following him on Instagram. He's very active on there. He does great still lifes. He's always doing painting challenges with Strata Easels. Another great landscape painter that I like is Jim McVicker. Now, he isn't online as much. I mean, he has an Instagram and he posts regularly, which is great. But in terms of educational material, he doesn't have much out there. He does do in-person workshops, so if you want to do a workshop with him, you can contact him and do a workshop with him. He does, however, have this great 30-minute documentary on him on YouTube, which I'll put a link to in the description below where you can watch that, and it's great. You get to see him paint and just you get to see kind of what the life of a professional plein air landscape painter is like. I feel like I haven't seen really any other documentaries about professional landscape painters. If anybody knows of any, please comment below with them. But I think I've seen that thing like a million times. It's great. Another great landscape painter that I really like is Bill Farnsworth, who actually lives like 30 minutes from me, and I've actually done one-on-one workshops with him. He has great work. Go to his Instagram. He does not have enough followers. This guy should have a ton of followers. He is great. Now for portraits, I really like Michael Shane Neal. I just like his very loose look with his portraits. I just, when I first saw his portraits, I was like, wow, like that's how I want to paint portraits. He's great. He actually has a Patreon now where he's releasing videos. He's pretty active on Instagram. I'll put a link to his website, but he also has a service where he will give you written critiques. You can send in your work and he'll give you handwritten critiques, which is great. Honestly, I could sit here and go on and on for hours about the painters that I like with, you know, the internet and social media and all that. It's so easy to gain access to so many good painters, and I feel like I'm discovering new great painters to follow every single day. But we must move on to more questions. So our next question comes from Dean Kerma. It says, really encouraging video, great tips about motivation and discipline. Chris, how many years of practice did it take you to get to the level where you are skillful enough as a painter to sell your work? That's an interesting question, and I don't think there's an exact point. And I started selling my work probably when I was in high school or college, and that was just doing commissions. That wasn't like going into a gallery and everything like that. I feel like people think that there's some level, some like gallery level you must reach to start selling your work. You can start selling your work as soon as people want to buy it. I never, for the longest time, like I never put any effort into selling my work, really. I never thought of painting as a career, really, and I just would get commissions and I'd be like, oh great, some extra money, I'll do a commission. And a lot of it was for friends and family, but over time that just grew more and more, and then I actually started putting effort into getting commissions, and it just kind of blossomed from there. But just start small, you know. If you start painting, the commissions will come. people will see your work. If you're putting your work out there, put your work out there as much as you can. And it might come from your family and friends first, and you might be doing paintings for a lower price than you want to. But don't worry about that. Just keep going. Now, this was definitely the case for me. I definitely always feel like I can get better. And as far as galleries and entering galleries, I didn't for the longest time. And I mean, I still haven't been in a gallery. I haven't really pursued it that much because I find a lot more opportunity online. But for the longest time, whenever people would suggest, hey, Chris, you should try getting a gallery, I always think, oh, no, I got to get a little better first. I need to get a little bit better first, because I'd see these people that were in galleries and they were just so much better than me. I mean, granted, they're twice my age, but it was like, I can't compete with them. Like, and you shouldn't think of it as competing, really. You just think you got to see your work kind of on its own and compared to your previous work. So I just think that it's important to be aware of how your work is being received. There are definitely things you can do to get your work out there and try and make sales, or trying to get in a gallery. But I really feel like it will come as long as you put yourself out there. And when you're ready and your skills are ready, the opportunities will be there. All right, next question comes from Mawish George. Says, Chris, thanks for sharing your knowledge. I struggle with making my paintings too dark and making it perfect, and I end up overdoing it. How do I let my paintings be loose? How do you let your paintings be loose? That's a great question. And I think that a lot of being loose has to do with lack of detail a lot of the time. And in order to get a painting that works without getting very detailed, you need to nail certain things, meaning you have to nail the drawing, you have to nail the value, and just the big shapes of it. I mean, for me personally, my painting process, the way I achieve a loose style is I start very loose, and no matter what I'm painting, no matter if it's a landscape, still life, portrait, I block it out in its most big, simple shapes first. And then from there, I just work smaller and smaller shapes. And to achieve that loose style, I think I just stop where a lot of people would keep going and get more and more detail. But once I feel like I have enough detail to make it work for how I like it, that's when I stop. Now, the stopping point is going to be different for everybody. You just have to make that judgment call on your own. There's also something to be said about painting with confidence. And the better you get at understanding value in drawing and just the strong core fundamentals, the quicker you're going to be able to paint, and the more you're going to be able to make marks that are quick yet confident. I feel like that's one of my favorite qualities about painters that paint with such a confidence. Like John Singer Sargent's work, like a lot of times there'll be a highlight and it's just absolutely perfect, and it's just, you get close and you look at it and it looks like he just took a brush and just went meh. But like that one little mark is so perfect and the exact right value, right color, and everything, that it just brings everything together and just works perfectly. And it's like, how do you get something to be so perfect and precise yet it looks like it was done just off the cuff, just not even caring? So how do you paint loose? Start with a very big brush. See the big shapes. If you want some exercises to paint loose, I've talked about these before. Put a clock on yourself. Choose a subject that you think would take you about like 2-3 hours to paint, and try and paint that in 30 minutes. It will force you to paint quicker and not get caught up in detail. It will make you realize what the important parts of the painting are, because you won't have time for the non-important parts. You can also try painting with the opposite hand that you normally paint with. That will also loosen you up a lot. All right, next question says, hi Chris, I would be really glad if you could help me with painting from life. I would like to know the way to maintain my perspective and proportions on my subject while painting from life. I mean, the ways to keep a steady view of my model. Please help me. Well, painting from life is the best way to paint. I highly recommend everybody paint from life when you can. I know that you can't always paint from life. Now, painting from life can be difficult, and one of the difficult things can be the drawing aspect of it, which is why I always highly recommend everybody always be working on their drawing. This is also why I suggest not tracing when you can. I don't say tracing is bad, or that a painting that is traced is a bad painting. It's not. It's just that every time you trace, you're missing out on the opportunity to get better at drawing. And it's very easy to slip into bad habits. You say, oh, I'll just trace this one. I got to do it for this or that. And then you do it again and again. And before you know it, months have gone by since you've actually really drawn anything. And then the time will come where you have to paint something from life and you need those drawing skills and you don't have them, because every time that you had an opportunity to practice your drawing skills, you traced it. So now you're gonna make a bad painting because you can't draw from life. So other than practicing your drawing skills, you can always use techniques of finding measurements. You know, taking your brush and being like, all right, from the top of my brush to where my thumb is on the brush is where the bottom of the head is. All right, I'm gonna make a mark on my canvas where that is. You can do that. You can use a proportional divider in the same way of, you know, getting measurements. There's some painters that will use sight size measuring, which is they'll line their subject up, you know, to the side of their canvas so that they can just bring lines of measurement right over. So like, all right, top of the head is there. My canvas is right here. Top of the head, measure. Bottom of the head, measure. There's that way of doing it. But honestly, it's just about practice. You just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And it will click for you and you will get better, and drawing won't be an issue for you anymore. And it will feel so great. You'll be able to look at anything in real life and paint it right there on the spot because you have acquired those drawing skills. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort, but there's a reason why people look at people that just paint something from life and bam, it's right there and it's great. It's because it's difficult and it takes a lot of time to acquire those skills. But you can be one of those people with those skills if you practice, so always be practicing. All right, that's all the time I got for questions today. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I just might answer it on next week's Paint Talk. If you're looking for full painting video tutorials, I do offer that along with private coaching. You can find that on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description below. Now, if you have trouble mixing and matching colors, I actually have a special short 10-minute video. It's my shortcut to color mixing guide. I'll put a link in the description where you can get that as well. If you want to see what I paint on a daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting. Well, look who made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like it. May I suggest you hit that subscribe button? I would really appreciate it. Also, I highly suggest you check out this video as well. All right, I'm gonna go now.